Hey guys, let's get more news about Steelers, but first, don't forget to subscribe and leave your like. Pittsburgh Steelers, Damian Lillard has strong opinion on who held back Justin Fields. Justin Fields' time with the Chicago Bears should have been filled with potential, but ended up in disappointment. This led Milwaukee Bucks star Damian Lillard to point out who he thought held the current Pittsburgh Steelers quarterback during his time with the team. Advertisement Fields played for the Bears from 2021 to 2023, before being traded to the Steelers in 2024. Before that, though, he showcased his talents at Harrison High School, where the quarterback garnered significant attention as a dual-threat quarterback. Fields continued his career at the University of Georgia before transferring to Ohio State, where he earned accolades as a two-time Big Ten Offensive Player of the Year. Selected 11th overall in the 2021 NFL Draft by the Bears, Fields made an immediate impact, setting a record for rushing yards by a quarterback in a single game with 178 yards in 2022. Throughout his time with Chicago, he became known for his ability to combine passing and rushing effectively, becoming one of only 3 quarterbacks in NFL history to rush for over 1,000 yards in a season. Despite facing challenges, including injuries and a struggling team record, the QB demonstrated resilience and growth as a player. In his final season with the Bears, he achieved career highs in completion percentage and passing yards. His tenure in Chicago concluded amid questions about his future, leading to his trade to the Steelers, where he aims to continue evolving as a quarterback in the NFL. During his time in Chicago, Fields never reached the expectations set before him. In a tweet on his official X account, Lillard dropped his take on who held the Steelers quarterback during that period. Lillard, an 8-time NBA All-Star, expressed frustration over the Bears' offensive struggles, specifically criticizing offensive coordinator Luke Getsy for mishandling Fields. He pointed out that poor play calling contributed to the quarterback's inconsistent performance, emphasizing the need for better support for the young star. Now that he's playing for Pittsburgh, Fields has the chance to change the narrative surrounding his career. If he succeeds, the QB can prove he was more during his time playing in Chicago. Pittsburgh Steelers rule out 6 players, including promising rookie Wr. The Pittsburgh Steelers have ruled out 6 players for their game against the Denver Broncos. Wide receiver Roman Wilson leads the list of inactives, as he was listed as questionable. Wilson will not make his NFL debut after suffering a high ankle sprain in July during the team's first padded training camp practice. Quarterback Russell Wilson is inactive and will be listed as the team's emergency third quarterback. Justin Fields will get the start, with Kyle Allen as the backup. Meanwhile, both backup safeties are out. Terrell Edmunds, a new addition to the team, and Jalen Elliott are both inactive. That leaves Damontae Kazee and Miles Killebrew as the backup safeties. Guard Isaac Seumalo, who was ruled out on Friday, is still out with a pectoral injury. Spencer Anderson will start in his place. Their final inactive is defensive lineman Dean Lowry, who was inactive against the Atlanta Falcons. The Steelers elevated wide receiver Ben Skowronek to help replace Wilson. Skowronek acted as the team's starting gunner alongside cornerback Darius Rush against the Falcons. The Broncos will be without wide receiver Devon Vele, who suffered a rib injury against the Seattle Seahawks. Rookie wide receiver Troy Franklin will make his NFL debut. The Pittsburgh Steelers have remained mum on quarterback Russell Wilson's exact injury. They have described it as calf tightness, which can be general soreness or a tear in the calf. According to Fox Sports NFL insider Jay Glazer, who is friends with Steelers head coach Mike Tomlin, Wilson's MRI revealed a calf strain. As Tomlin alluded to on Friday, Tomlin is likely to be fully cautious about letting Wilson play. I think the first part is the will. I've got the will. I think the second part is you've got to be able to basically pretty much do everything, Wilson said. I'm getting there. I also have to listen to the doctors and hear what they have to say. At the end of the day, it's kind of one of those decisions. It's a team effort of trying to figure out what's the best thing. I'm doing everything I can to go. Wilson will likely be listed as the team's emergency third quarterback and thus be inactive for their game against the Denver Broncos. It will be the second straight game that he will miss, opening the door for quarterback Justin Fields. Kyle Allen will step in again as the backup against the Broncos. Fields threw for 156 yards and no touchdowns in their 18-10 Week 1 win over the Atlanta Falcons. That alone will not secure his spot as the starter, especially since Wilson won the job outright out of training camp. Instead, Fields is going to have to elevate his game and get the team into the end zone a few times against the Broncos to secure his starting job. Wilson first suffered the calf injury during training camp. He missed 2.5 weeks of practice before finally taking full team reps 3.5 weeks after the injury. It is unclear if that is going to be the same timeline for this calf injury. Pittsburgh Steelers quarterback Russell Wilson suffered a calf injury in Thursday's practice, which was a re-injury of his previous calf injury from training camp. That initial injury in training camp happened during the team's conditioning test when Wilson was pushing a sled. According to Dan Graziano of ESPN, Wilson took the first team reps in practice up through individual drills but left the field shortly after that. Justin Fields took the first team reps throughout the rest of the practice, though Graziano says that Wilson came back at a certain point. Either way, this tweak is new and was not something the quarterback dealt with before Thursday's practice. Pittsburgh Steelers sign former standout Texas defensive back. The Pittsburgh Steelers have signed defensive back Jaminson to their practice squad. Jamison's signing came as part of a practice squad shakeup. The Steelers also signed cornerback James Pierre and released cornerback Zion Gilbert and wide receiver Shaquan Davis. Jaminson, 25, was most recently with the Carolina Panthers. The Panthers released him in their cut down to 53 players and did not bring him back on their practice squad. Standing at just 5'9", Jaminson projects as a slot cornerback for the Steelers. Jaminson started out with the San Francisco as an underrated free agent in the 2023 NFL Draft. Coming out of Texas, Jaminson drew offers from multiple teams. So, when the 49ers cut him following the preseason, the Panthers claimed him off waivers and he spent the entire season on their roster. He spent 5 seasons with the Longhorns, playing long enough to become a team captain. Jaminson ran a 4.51 40-yard dash coming out of college. Beanie Bishop and Thomas Graham are the other options for the Steelers at slot cornerback. And you fan? What do you think of the situation of Jaminson? Leave your opinion in the comments.